Happy Wednesday. I'm going to have another ramble. I don't know how long it'll be, but I did a few notes yesterday. And you just get overtaken by the urge to write, and I just can't sleep again. I'm waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and not really being able to get back to sleep, and then I have so much energy, running through me and so many things that I want to be doing, and to keep myself present, I'm constantly having to sort of manage my own, it's like your own internal chemistry, isn't it? It's like, sometimes it feels like excitement. It's like too much to do, what shall I do? Shall I paint? Shall I do this? Shall I do that? I want to go, blah, 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 And I have to keep just trying to pull myself back into present, whether, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm quite 1,000 miles an hour, So I'm trying to learn how to just get more calm, more present, be able to sort of melt into my surroundings, whatever that is. I can do that if I'm singing or dancing or painting, but, just sort of, and like if I consciously decide to meditate, go and lay down and meditate, or go and sit down and meditate, that's cool, but the rest of the day I'm quite unaware and ignorant of my own breathing. I'm really bad at breathing. I hold my breath a lot, and so practical things, I'm just trying to keep myself like that because I've got so much at the moment, and I think that's why I can't sleep. I feel like I'm almost shakes as well, a lot of energy going through me. So anyway, when I was writing down a load of crap yesterday, I was looking at the sky, and I wanted to try and talk about my personal sort of interpretation of the sky, or the heavens, or the ethers, the atmospheres, however we want to label it. And, at the start of my awakening, it was feeling to me like the whole sky had changed, that it had turned into this 5D sky, and the clouds, and everything was just so away from how I'd remembered it before. So right at the start of my awakening, I feel like I got more insight through looking at the sky and staring at the sun, so it was probably just activating my own inner whatever, therefore it felt right to me, so I spent hours and hours staring at the sky, and eventually, it got me to ponders about flat earth, and eventually, down that perception, this is like 2 years ago now, so but the rainbows, double rainbows, I've seen loads of. I'm actually going to put a playlist together on my channel because I'm so lazy sometimes, but I'm going to put, my sky videos separately. I've got so much incredible, beautiful phenomena, I guess, and it still shocks me, that not many people are bothered by it, or it doesn't trigger questions within them, it doesn't spark questions within them, it's quite often people are like, and it's like, I think I put my sky stuff out, and I'm always careful never to add my own perception to it, because, who am I to declare what the sky is? Like, I feel like the sky and the heavens, it's it's like it's the real theatre. It's like the only truth around us is, what's going on beyond our control in the ethers and above. So it fascinated me, the halos, the sundogs, the clouds, the way the sun interacts with different clouds, the way certain clouds turn, you get this rainbow effect around the sun. Certain clouds, when they pass over, turns, the sun, it then turns into what looks like the moon, and I've shown a lot of that. And I do find it difficult because so many people are obviously, thank God, looking up and interested in the sky stuff. But again, we all have separate individual interpretations of it, and, we can't paint it out for everybody. But what I have noticed, yeah, it's all beautiful, it's all new. The way the sky, even the sky stuff, sometimes I feel like the way that that is portrayed through, you know, I don't know, Mr. MBB3333, you know, or one of these other sort of huge channels. He's got his own perception on it. You know, I can't bear to it. I can't bear to watch his stuff sometimes because, for me, you know, he ignores what's going on. You know, the most important or the most incredible for me things, and he'll be like, yeah, there's a triangle craft, and it's just a bit, you know, of sky. And so what I realised over the years of looking at the sky and filming it and stuff is that pictures can be very manipulative. So can everything, you know. This is why utter transparency is the only way for me, you know. It's like, I don't filter my sky shit. It's just the way it is, the way that I see it. And I like to show it in sequence as well, because if I were to take little shots and I were to zoom in on certain bits, I would be manipulating it, you know, in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for example, Mr. MBB333, who's obsessed with triangle crafts, which to me, you know, just look like edges of clouds leaving a triangle shape inside rather than that being the shape, you know. And it made me ponder about magic eyes. Does anyone ever remember these magic eyes they used to have in magazines where you'd focus and you'd get a picture pop out to you? Well, I could do that as a kid. I used to go boz-eyed, you know, and then pull it back like that. But my picture would never pop out to me. It was always inwards, you know, as if I had to dive into it. It was the opposite. So we've all got these different lenses on, these different perceptions, these different filters, these different pulls and ties and sways and wants, you know, and things that we attract or find attractive or interesting, you know. So I get a little bit, not stressed out, but I see how frenzies are flipped up and created as well, you know. There is, yeah, I'm not going to go into it anymore, it doesn't matter. It's just, I feel like, especially, you know, with the whole relevance of signs and wonders, you know, for me, there's so many signs and wonders in the sky that that's the only truth to me, that a change is a coming, you know. And so this is what felt like for me from the beginning. So for me, looking up at the sky and seeing these new colours, and I'm like, it's not just me because the camera catches it. So I with my naked eye, I can see all the rainbow colours and stuff around the clouds. If you zoom in, you can see a different type of spectrum of the rainbow cloud, if you know what I mean. So the camera can enhance and manipulate images even further from, you know, how you'd see with your naked eye. Which actually probably means that our eyes are manipulating it and not the camera. But anyway, so what the fuck was my point? So yeah, so I'm like, because for me, you know, we live on a flat plane and everything's going around and around and around in different beautiful geometric patterns, on beautiful circuits and, you know, ellipses, and it's all going, it's all happening around us. I don't mind being ridiculed for that either, you know, I don't push it onto anyone. But, you know, with my paintings that I'm doing at the moment, I'm putting like a little flat earth in the middle of them all. And I was laughing, thinking to myself, like, that's like my, you know, in Home Alone, like the wet bandits, they used to leave a little, a signature, you know, that they'd been there. It's like mine's a little flat earth thing, so... spreading the message subconsciously. But I find it's really, you know, that was kind of like awakening to me, and looking up and seeing it and feeling and seeing the closeness of the sun, and the intensity of it, and picking up on more colour spectrums, you know, from the, you know, the gamma rays or the reds or whatever to the UV violets, and everything's expanding. I've spoken about in videos before, you know, the other layers and things that I can see in the orbs and all that jazz, but basically the sky is just incredible, and I can't see that being human manipulation. I know there's proof of geoengineering and chemtrails, like, you can't deny that something's pumping out the back of those bad boys, you know. But 80-90% of, you know, what we see up there, it's too vast to be manipulated. It's truth, you know. It's like there's changes, there's more plasma, you can see and feel the frequencies rising, you know. So this was what, you know, the way this, everything, the sun, the moon, the stars, the whole jazz up in the sky, it woke me up to a lot. The ethereal feather clouds, the whole sky patterns, you know, when it's like cotton wool, or, you know, but it covers the whole sky and things like that. And so I've been noticing and recording as well how the sun interacts with different types of clouds and what this is. And, you know, I was always trying to sort of figure something else out, but always feeling inside like this is a natural cosmic change, you know. We don't need to get freaked out about it. People then, they flip to the other end of the spectrum, and Christians go rapture time, you know, signs and wonders, and New Age people go, we're ascending, and, you know, it's madness. UFO people go, UFOs are coming, and really I feel like it is just a frequency change. So I know there's huge planetary alignments this year as well, that haven't happened for long periods of time, and people like to brush over astrology, and it's one of those things that I also did at the start of my awakening. I was always interested in it, but I kept putting it on the back burner. And I think, again, it's one of these things, it's useless to anybody who's not deciding to look inwards more and use astrology as a tool, you know. It sounds like you're talking gibberish, but looking more and more into it, and obviously I'm doing these paintings and things are solidifying in my head, you know, because of the repetition of signs and symbols and placements and energies and you know, elements that go with these and things. And I'm just like, it's just another tool to know thyself. It's absolutely amazing. So anyway, yeah, but I was just sort of feeling like it's a shame how everything's always manipulated, and you know, people like to, and I don't know whether it's what, sometimes it's like the purpose it's not a malicious purpose, you know, it's just that everyone's like, oh, you know, look at all this stuff in the sky, and I'm like, for example, like, I see clouds all the time that look like numbers. Well, if I were to take a shot of that and go, oh, look, perfect number 3, or perfect number 10, perfect number 7, or whatever, within 3 or 4 seconds, you know, the wind's taken it somewhere else. So it's like, it wasn't, a 3 or a 7 or a 10 that stayed in the sky for a long time. That was, you know, a sign and wonder. It was a beautiful a reaction, you know, of the ethers and the environment. It was a part in motion, and when you take a snapshot of that part in motion, that's when it can be manipulated, is what I'm saying. So yeah, people seem to get freaked out, and they go to people and it's like, what does this mean, you know, what do these changes mean? And it's like, I think we can all, I don't know, we all have to interpret it. It feels like cosmic changes of high source God frequency, Christ consciousness that's been poured down. It really does. And I feel like all this is connected to you know, this coronavirus and illnesses, and the, you know, somehow I feel like it is. And I know this sounds new agey and I don't care, but for me it feels like something that's beyond human control. And it made me think a lot about our own perceptions, you know. Let me have a look. I drew this stupid little thing. So I was imagining how sorry, before I move on from the sky, I've got eclipse, flat earth, sun local moves around, sun rays beams, how sun interacts with clouds, dark clouds used to be dense with rainwater, star circuit rounders, UFOs, planes, holograms, orbs, pixels, simulations, blah, blah, blah. You know, there's a million different ways that we can, again, interpret these heavens. But, you know, like, it's a personal thing again. Right. So after that, more light. Earth has been affected by cosmic, ethereal changes of frequencies. And I was thinking, you know, this could be... it could be the reason for all sorts of things, you know, the electromagnetic frequency changes, solar storms. I heard a video yesterday as well where... Actually, I'll put it down because it was worth it. I was only half listening to it, but Garden of Truth and Lies, the guy's called Theo, and he was sort of pondering how electricity is influenza, basically, you know, a change in electromagnetic frequency, and the Sons of Al, he's a bit, you know, he goes a bit... Even for me, you know, it's a little bit all over, but it's worth watching. It's so these were sort of things that were coming to me, you know, before I started looking on YouTube for any truth or anything like that. You know, I'm just sat with my own self looking around thinking, oof, things have changed. And of course things change all the time, you know. It's like we're born into these finite lives and we don't think it's going to happen in our existence. But so anyway, 2020, big bloody year, and I feel like some of us, well, humans have got to evolve with these changes. We're resisting, I think, at the moment, and that's what's happening. But I drew this little thing, and I'm not going to show it because it's not, you know, it's just for me to conceptualise it. But, you know, sort of the levels of 3D, 4D, 5D and upwards that we conceptualise, and people, you know, they'll call them dimensions and things like that. What did I write about that last bit? And the higher dimensions is just accessing higher consciousness. It's all within ourselves. But I feel like the key to the entrance of higher levels of consciousness is it's just the frequency of acceptance. That's kind of feels to me like the bridge. It's like, you know, when you start to accept things, not resist it, you get access to the higher dimensions or states of consciousness which are just within you, you know. It's not like the external changes, but we block or allow ourselves access to this experience, you know. We do it all to ourselves, and it's all interwoven with judgment, isn't it? And this is one of the big ones. And I'm going to put another video down below. It's a 10-minute video from Eileen Colts, I think she's called, and I really like her point of view. I've listened to her for a while now, so and she was just talking about some of the things that have been on her mind, and, you know, feeling like what she came here to do and what she's still struggling with, what her lessons are at this point of time. And judgment of others is a big one. And for me, I sometimes, you know, when someone comments on one of my old videos, it plays in the background, and sometimes I hear myself talking and I'm so far away from the frequency that I was in when I was talking that I'm disgusted in myself sometimes. You know, I'm like, oh, fucking stupid at people. You know, I'm just projecting at these people who are just in a lower level of consciousness and overridden and ran by fear. And, you know, here I am sat going, fucking idiots, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, sometimes I could whack myself. It's like, it's so deep and difficult, you know, to actually shed all this bullshit. But really, acceptance, I feel like, is the key into sort of, you know, at least 4D, if we're going to conceptualise it that way. And then within that, there's a spectrum as well. So it's like, you know, we all know it's like once you go, there's no going back. It feels like Jacob's ladder, you know, we're climbing up it, the frequencies, the dimensions, the levels of consciousness, and along the way we're shedding and dropping all our densities and bullshit and belief systems and all this crap. And, you know, as we're getting up, hang on, I can hear the kids outside. They keep trying to come in when I'm sick.
I've got the session now, chick. They know to come and... Oh, yeah. Bye.
All right, mate. Bye. Lots of kids. I've pushed a big puff up to the door so they can't come in. They can only open it an inch. Go away. It's for a bit, bless them. Amazing. So, so we're blocking ourselves from accessing these experiences, which are all done within, which make us feel good. It's not about anything else, you know. It's like this is what we're going for. It's like I still find it hard to conceptualize that some people are externalizing a new earth as a separate place, you know, or a return to wherever, whatever we're going to say, you know, Hyperborea, Garden of Eden, or blah, 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 whatever. Sometimes I think that we're all just sort of prophesizing our own deaths, you know, we're remembering our own deaths and our own cycles and our own reincarnations and positions within these evolutionary changes again, you know, and we egoically apply it to all, you know, but so a few things I've just felt like I'm really trying to understand my relationship to how I would view God, you know, and I have a problem when people sort of personify God. I feel like that's what it is, because for me, obviously, God is so much more than one person, and so I do find the whole psychology, you know, the sort of Jesus obsession slightly strange as well, and I think that's got its own sort of codependencies attached to. But I don't want to demonise that, because I feel connected to Jesus and God, you know, I feel more connected to that frequency and that essence than the opposite, you know, it's just these traps everywhere. But anyway, so, and for me, you know, I've always felt more comfortable saying like God as source, like the source of all, because again, I have no idea. I've had near-death experiences, psychedelic experiences, mystical experience through trauma, through meditation, through lucid dreams, you know. I'm sure we all have had all these vast experiences with our consciousness, you know, and I still find that to try and conceptualize something so infinite and magnificent and, you know, just is crazy, and to personify it is even more so wacky. So I just feel like it's light, and light that we're receiving, you know, even further back at the base, maybe it is just frequency, just sound, you know, and that creates the light and the frequencies that eventually work their way down to us and that we're always connected to. And I feel like we definitely have these ethereal ties, like like an umbilical cord that we're connected to. And a few times in meditation, it's felt like a glittery, streamy thread, you know. And when I've been singing and when I've been in good vibes sometimes, well, this has happened twice, not for a year actually, but I was singing and I felt like I saw some sort of like gold thread come out my mouth, you know, up towards the ethers and join in with this thing. So yeah, I don't know, people becoming closer to God and prophecy, Bible signs and wonders and visions and things, it's all interesting me more. I think I'm gonna pick up the Bible and, you know, read it, and without my further judgment of what I think, you know, just go for it and see what I you know, what I get given and what I can receive through that. So that's cool. Won't stop me swearing though, or, you know, I guess yeah. So talking about God, I just wanted to correct myself the other day on that gene that I mentioned. This study's about this vaccine to target the fundamentalist gene. Apparently they were calling it the God gene. And the lecture that I watched was from 2005. And they were doing it then, 15 years ago. It's the VMAT2 gene, and apparently they call this the God gene. And in people that have been tested with CT scans and stuff, when they've been read religious text, a part of their brain has lit up, and scientists claim that this is the part of the brain, you know, the fundamentalist gene. And so the vaccine was created to suppress the expression of the VMAT2 gene, and it just makes you realise, you know, because it's like, for me, I'm like, well, I'm sure if someone read me something spiritual, that part of my brain would light up. Why is that a bad thing? Why does that mean you're a fundamentalist and you're going to strap a bomb on and go and kill people? You know, it's like spirituality is threatening. It's threatening as the illusion becomes clear and we claim sovereignty. It's it's threatening. Control cannot be had over another with free will and sovereignty. It just can't. The whole perception of it, you take yourself up and out of the game. So if everybody starts to do that, and, you know, from how I'm feeling into it, it doesn't actually take too much. One of the kids now. Are you alright? Jazz? I think you're alright. Yeah, I was just wondering, you know, it's like, it's so threatening. It's like, it should be good that when you read profound things, parts of your brain light up. So, anyway, so that's what they were doing with vaccines 15 years ago, so, you know, I won't be having one. In other news, the kids are not going back to school, not while they're psychologically tormenting them anyway. So we got a letter from school, and the rules were ridiculous. And to be fair, the head teacher didn't seem happy about it, but she was going along with it, like I guess she thinks she has to. And so, yeah, stupid rules, you know. 9 people in a class, no toys, all facing forwards, no parents can go in. You know, just too much to be like, nah, fuck that. I'm not subjecting him to that. Oh, they're in. I'll have to go and sort it for a sec, just a sec, I'll add on. Hi. Got interrupted for a water fight, argument, and got thrown water on me as well, so... I don't even know where I was, but I think I was just feeling into the whole sort of cosmic changes, like Earth evolving with the ethers and the cosmos, you know. In my head, it's sort of everything's revolving around Earth, you know. It doesn't matter whether you sort of see it in the heliocentric way. It doesn't matter at all. It's just, I think, coming to the same conclusion that shit's changing, and so... I don't know which part of the evolution we're in, and, you know, I don't remember the last time, you know, these planets aligned, or the frequencies were like this. This is the first time I remember in this existence, you know. So I'm not sure, but what I wrote down yesterday, which could be bollocks, but I was just sort of feeling into the magnitude of the collective consciousness, how we have I'm just gonna hold it, how we kind of are giving off such a potent frequency of density, you know, collectively, and that we have been for such a while. I was sort of feeling into how it felt like the collective consciousness of the humans sort of took monopoly over the cosmos and kept things, you know, at bay, higher frequencies, light codes, you know. So, super dense, you know, as within, so without. We're all dense and you know, until, for me, what feels like the last 2 years, I've never felt such intensity, you know, from the atmosphere, the sun, the stars, the moon, everything. But, you know, that could just be a reflection of my change within. So, again, chicken or egg, who fucking knows? But don't get freaked out. It's such an exciting time, really. And it's all about knowing yourself more. And that's why I'm really enjoying doing these paintings as well, because I'm always pretty hard on myself, you know, and I'm like... After I'd had loads of excitement, you know, and I started doing some for people, and then what happened was I'd not, because I'd never liked being told what to do, even if it's by myself. And so when I'm painting, I need to be in a certain energy, you know, to do colours. I need to be in a different energy to do fine detail. I need to be in a different, you know what I mean? So I started too many at once, and then I got all overwhelmed, and I was like, oh God, and I've still not posted one off, and I've not even finished one properly yet, but they're all at different stages, but nearing completion. So anyway, but I like it, you know. It's like how you can have it on your wall, you know, a piece of art, have it on your wall, a big one or a little one. And when you're listening to these things and you're learning more about astrology and more about yourself, and you can, mine's up on my wall up there, so when I'm listening to, you know, current transits or whatever might relate, I can look up and see where my planets are straight away. It's really, really helpful to reiterate that that part. And again, you're not going to be bothered unless you're at that point. I've only recently, although I've been dipping my nose in and out for probably 18 months now into astrology, I've only recently solidified its validity, if you know what I mean. For me, it's like, it feels like it's all inner knowing, inner gnosis, you know. So I feel like, yeah, that's what's happening. And you know, when you look at the spectrum of frequencies, I think he's called Aaron Dougherty or something. He quite often pulls out this big chart, you know, showing the feelings associated with certain vibrations. But it's like that's your own spectrum within again. So if we perceive that most of Earth has been trapped in their own 3D perceptions and experiences, we just need the scale to tip where they can just perceive 4D or above, you know. They don't need to be 5D and above where everybody else is climbing up the ladder further, you know, and experiencing these higher emotions. We just need to get to that middle point, which I think is like acceptance on the chart. And it makes so much sense to me that, you know, it's just acceptance, not resistance and projection, whether that's through your own belief systems or if it's relating to the whole coronavirus and what's going on at the moment, everybody around you, your own perception, blah, blah, blah. Or relating to anything else, you know. It's like, I think you get to access those higher states of consciousness when you've, again, I don't know where this comes into it, but it's all access to higher when you're acknowledging your own densities, your own darkness, your own shadow, your own illusions, your own projections, everything, you know. So taking responsibility and acknowledgement for every single part of exchange and everything you've ever done, you know, energetically, then allows you access to higher up the spectrum vibrations to experience within yourself, you know. So yeah, and like there's no going back. So it's not like we need everybody to wake up and start being Mother Teresa or anything like that. It's just vibrationally emitting a frequency of acceptance will do it. You know, we'll get everyone up there, and then we can keep climbing as a whole. You know, and I feel like the tip is coming. That's what we're waiting for. So it's rather exciting. There's a lot of things that I want to talk about in regards to the coronavirus, you know, and things that I need to talk about in regards to that. I'm going to do it in a separate video because my vibe will be so down and my energy is wasted already. I've gone. So know thyself, inner knowing, inner knowledge, gnosis, astrology, religion, philosophy, spirituality. They all point to knowing thyself, you know. Inside, attaining control over our consciousness to both protect and project your reality. So that was it. I felt like humans had the sort of sway over the monopoly of the visible light spectrum, maybe, you know, and the opportunity to perceive more. But as cosmic forces and frequencies, you know, as these planetary alignments continue in this downpour of plasma or light, God, source, you know, whatever it is that's becoming closer to us day by day, as we begin to accept that light, it's the acceptance of light, yeah. So that is going to take monopoly and precedence over the human collective consciousness, it feels like, so we can move on up, you know. And they're just scribbled notes from 10 minutes of, you know, 20-minute when you're writing shit. So again, this is not fact, probably fiction, because it's come from my head, you know, onto a pen in my book. But I'm sort of feeling quite often into the fact that, not fact, into how that's all everything is anyway. It's all from within. It's all human imagination. We create these thought forms, and the more attention we give them, the more weight they get, and they control the narratives and perceptions, and we get duped and tricked into it. So yeah, I think there's good things are coming. A lot of murkiness and a lot of darkness that needs to come to the surface. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, so you know who you are, whose paintings these are. I'm going to finish them off definitely this week and post them off at the end of the week. I just, as I'm doing more and more, I'm going back to tart the other ones up, because I've found new ways that I like things to stand out, or different, and I got some new paints as well, so I want to make things look a bit better. And I got thinner paint. I found a thinner paintbrush, so I can do, tart them up a little bit better, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. But so if anybody wants one, big one, little one, and this one, I've not finished this one yet. It's just the outline. That's MJ from All to Love. So she's got a lovely chat, and it's funny because, like I said, because I'm knowing it more and more, I'm like, oh yeah. Mars and Mercury and Aries. Yeah, I'm joking, but it kind of is like that. It's really great, to see all these differences. It is our blueprint. It's a key for us. It can help us know ourselves, and they look beautiful. If you stick them on the wall, you can look at them all the time. And please buy one. Email me. I'll put my email in the description box. And I hope everybody's having a good day. I'm menstrual, too much information, and I'm spotty and sweaty. But I feel a little bit better for offloading that. So yeah, yeah, and I don't even know what I said. So I'll attach this on, and have a lovely day.